Good evening. Welcome to Lower Frederick Township Board of Supervisors General Meeting for November 5th of 2025. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, all members of the board are in attendance, including all of our staff. We had an executive session before this evening's meeting to discuss legal matters and real estate. The township meetings are recorded for the purpose of preparing the minutes, and the recording is destroyed after the minutes are approved. The meeting will be posted online on the township YouTube channel. The link can be found on the Board of Supervisors page on the township website. It is requested that all persons wishing to speak before the board shall state their name, address, and the subject matter upon which they wish to speak for the record. In the interest of facilitating the business of the board, all persons addressing the board shall be limited to 3 minutes unless such time is extended by the chair for good cause. Individuals are requested to remain in their seats and to respect when other persons are speaking. The Board of Supervisors will provide a reasonable opportunity for citizens to comment on any non-agenda items after all agenda items have been addressed, but prior to the adjournment of the public meeting. Okay, first up on our list of things to address this evening is the administrative actions and approving the meeting minutes for June 24th, 2025 work session, July 1st, 2025 general meeting, and the July 22nd, 2025 work session. Are there any questions about the meeting minutes? Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
Also move.
Supervisor Hexter made the motion, and a second.
Chuck Yiser will second.
Supervisor Yiser seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, it passes unanimously. Okay, second on our agenda this evening is Jackie Erickson from Artisan. And Peter, you're going to speak to this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So Artisan asked to be in front of the board tonight just to make sure everything is squared away. They have granted us an extension to the end of the year to consider their preliminary plan. They are saying that they will provide us with a new and complete plan set the week of November 17th, upon which, once we get it, Carol will then review it. Depending on when she gets it and how long her review is, we will then try to schedule consideration of the plan set either at the 1st or 2nd December meeting in order to get it done before the end of the year and the running of the extension. It's my understanding that Perkiomen Township is going to consider the plan for this area of the project in their township later tonight. And once Perkiomen Township grants final plan approval, Schwenksville Borough will grant final plan approval. Schwenksville Borough needs to wait because their lots actually don't have any connection to a public road until the plan in Perkiomen Township creating that connection is actually approved. And then, assuming that preliminary plan approval is granted by us, they'll have to go through a final plan approval process with us only, and then they can get started with everything. That being said, we had a meeting with the developer yesterday, and coming out of that meeting, we received from the developer's engineer this afternoon plans and legal descriptions and a response letter that basically, I think, cleared up all the issues between the township and the developer. Specifically, the developer says they now will be able to provide a 4-foot wide trail/sidewalk along Centennial Road and along Smith Road to the edge of the property, like we have asked. They are also have provided plans to Carol showing the intersection improvements and to Smith and Centennial Road, like we have asked. And lastly, in conjunction with those intersection improvements, the township has agreed to go out and approach the one property owner opposite this property, who's going to be impacted by these improvements, it'll be, let's put it this way, it'll be easier if we can get some sort of additional easement and land to do this work. If we don't get it from the property owner, that doesn't mean we can't do the improvements. So we're assuming we're not going to get it, and the developer engineer is assuming we're not going to get it, and they're going to show the improvements on that basis. But if we do get some additional easement from that property owner, it's going to help with some grading and other aspects of the intersection improvements, and then we can show them on a later version of the plan before the plan recordation. And I think, Carol, that all the things that we were covering yesterday? I do believe so.
I think you've got a pretty good recap there, yes.
Okay, and Jackie, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where we're at. We actually seem to be in agreement. We're basically going to wait for their engineer to provide the final set of plans and for Carol to review it, and then hopefully, like I said, at one of the meetings in December, we will actually be in front of you, or Artisan will be in front of you seeking preliminary plan approval. If you have any questions for me or for Ms. Erickson, I think Ms. Erickson was here just to, make sure she can answer them, make sure everything's cleared away so we have a smooth runway or landing strip for the plans. And likewise, if Ms. Erickson has any questions for us or for you, we want to give her this opportunity.
And we have no questions.
Just wanted one clarification. When you talked about the improvement on Smith Road, you said sidewalk or trail. It's a sidewalk, right?
Yes, we've been calling it both, so that's why.
Okay,
but
I
yes.
just want to make, it's a
It is.
sidewalk. Okay,
Yes.
wonderful.
I do have one quick question, and I think it kind of got lost in the shuffle because I haven't heard it come back up again. Was the traffic study to make Smith Road a no-truck road?
That has been done.
Okay,
And I think, Carol, we're good. I know I've looked at it, and I know you've looked at it. I think we're good with it.
Yes.
And so the next step is going to be for my office to prepare the necessary ordinance, and that will be, in front of you, within the next few months.
okay, terrific, thank you. Other than that, I have no questions.
So that being said,
Wonderful. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice night.
great. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you,
See ya.
Jackie. Okay, next up on our agenda this evening, we have a special guest, Eileen Johnson, branch manager from the Perkiomen Valley Library in Schwenksville.
Good evening. Today I've got with me Holly DeWeese. She's one of your residents and one of our people on our board. She's been there for a long time. And we got a lot of things going on at the library. We have a million programs happening at the library. I have a youth services coordinator, which I was really excited about last time I was here. She's been in place since the end of April. We've had great programs happening. She is pushing more to do programs when school is out for PV School District. Yesterday, we had a dinosaur party. We had people attend. It was great. In September, there was a day off. She did a story time at the Story Walk up at PV Middle School West. They walk up there. They enjoyed the book. They did the story walk. They had craft. They had a lot of fun. So she's got a lot of great ideas. Things are moving. We've got more programs than we've ever had. So that's really, really cool. And then because of that, our circulation's been going up again. At the end of last year, I was very excited to go to 105,000 circulation. I'm only 6,000 away from that number, and I've got 2 full months to go for statistics. So we're definitely going to bump up over that again. So it's really fun to have the building busy, creative, and it's fun and exhausting. We have our LSA grant, which I told you about that last spring. We finally got our ducks in a row with all our paperwork, our legal stuff, our insurance, all that fun stuff. And we're in the design process. We've been talking to the architect. Today, she actually had subcontractors walk through so she could start working towards getting those guys lined up. So far, it looks like they're going to start working on us the end of February. So that's going to be interesting. They're going to try to keep our building open as much as possible. We have material activity that's going to happen on the lower level and on the upper level. The lower level, they're going to shorten our kitchen. It used to be a professional kitchen. We don't need it as a professional kitchen. So now it'll be a warming kitchen. We're going to add some conference rooms down there. The bathrooms are going to become ADA. All the doors will be ADA accessible. So that's really exciting, really cool. Upstairs, when you walk into the building, instead of finding the circulation desk to your left, it's going to be right in front of you. And you'll look at the adult materials in the front of the library. And the kids' materials will be back a little bit because with our youth services coordinator, our children's area has gotten much noisier. So it'll be nice to have them in the back now. We've got a lot of things happening. So any questions for the library?
I don't have any at this time, but congratulations on your LSA grant.
Thank you. We're busy working on our programs for December, January, February. As soon as I've got that flyer together, I'll bring copies over. Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up on our agenda this evening. Would you like to address this?
So I would like to ask the board for us to save time on the back end with the budget as a last business item, if they would consider posting or the reports for the staff to skip the going through the staff reports and just take them as posted. The board has been given all of those reports.
I have no objection. Does anyone have any questions?
The only question I have is if our police has something that is timely, that they mention it, but other than that, we can read the report. If there's just something specific.
Just in your packets with the news press releases for the arrests that we've had over last month.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, seeing no other objection, we will get those posted on our website so people can at least go and look at those reports.
Yes.
But we will continue on with our Township Board and Commissions reports. So we're going to go right to.
Hold on, we got to do the bills list.
Hold on, I want to pay the bills, I know. Yes, sorry, I got it, okay. All right, sorry about that. Payment of the bills for this, for October 4th through October 31st of 2025. For the general fund is $126,716.42. The general capital fund is $2,567.95. The sewer fund is $43,518.83. And the ARPA COVID relief fund is $14,950. Can I get a motion to pay the bills? I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I will second.
Supervisor Hexter makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Okay, now we can go to our township boards and commissions reports. And we're going to start with the EAC.
Okay, we knew you had a big agenda before you, so we're keeping it short. Just wanted to let you know that we met on October 13th, and we had our township's own master gardener, Pam Reich, who provided us a presentation about many outreach activities that the Penn State Master Gardeners of Montgomery County can provide to Lower Frederick residents. So the EAC would like to plan for a presentation for residents late winter, February or March of next year. We discussed what initiatives may be our focus in 2026, and we noted that the property maintenance code might be advertised soon, and we will provide any input as needed. So that is it. Any questions?
I have none at this time. Thank you, Diane. The next report for the Open Space Committee.
Their meeting was canceled for the month of October.
Okay, thank you. That meeting was canceled. Park and Rec.
I too will try to keep this short. Okay, so first things first, Coble Park Rehabilitation Survey. We did close that out on October 31st. We've had we've had 210 responses, which I think is pretty good for the grassroots advertisement that we did. We're going to review, consolidate, and then present the findings at a future park board meeting, and then we'll bring it to the board to present the findings and suggestions and recommendations. We met on Monday, and we discussed potentially applying for an LSA grant for the first 3 phases of the rehabilitation project. Those had been planned out a while ago with Carol. So what we wanted to do was get consensus from our park board to see if Jason could bring that to you guys at a future meeting. And what that's going to include is the drainage improvements and repaving the walking trail so that it meets ADA compliance. So hopefully you'll be seeing that on your agenda for a resolution to be made. October events recap, we're winding down. Trunk or treat, thank you to the police department for inviting us to participate in that. We had, gave out all the candy we had for the most part, so that was successful. And then Perkiomen Pacers, we had a bird walk, which not a lot of people attended, but those that did said that it was a lot of fun, really informative, and they saw a lot of birds. And then the Grave Tales, also good reviews for that. So we're probably going to go back for that next year. And then upcoming events, we're doing a Perkiomen Pacers walk on December 6th. We're going to be participating in a candlelight tour or candlelight walk at the Peter Wentz Homestead. We'll be meeting at 5:45 and the walk's going to start at 6. And then finally, this is exciting news. On December 7th, we're having our first, hopefully, annual event at Village Center Park from 12 to 3. It's going to be a Giving Tree Holiday fundraiser, and we're going to be selling commemorative ornament for Lower Frederick, and then also have birdseed ornaments for sale. And then Santa's going to be there, and we're going to have hot cocoa available for purchase. So, thanks.
Very nice, Katie. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, Planning Commission?
Hey, Greg's online tonight. I will keep this short. We only had one agenda item. Artisan came in to talk to us to go over Carol's waiver request letter, and that's what we did. And it sounds like you guys worked it out since then. So that was the only agenda item.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Ernie, did you want to add anything?
No, I was just going to go through the minutes, but he's covered it.
Okay,
It's fine.
all right.
I'm satisfied.
Okay, thanks, Ernie. Okay. Okay, that's it for our reports. Next on our agenda this evening is a request for proposal authorization to advertise sewer sludge hauling.
Okay, so the township's current sludge hauling contract is nearing expiration in February 2026. To ensure the continuity of service and compliance with state and federal environmental regulations, the township must secure a new agreement for the transportation and disposal of the wastewater treatment plant sludge. Request for proposals to solicit competitive bids from qualified contractors capable of providing these services for a 3-year period. I did send the previous one to Bob Preston, our sewer engineer, who then forwarded his draft to Peter. Peter has reviewed and updated. The RFP does outline the scope of the work, service requirements, disposal standards, and insurance bonding provisions required of prospective bidders. And the selected contractor will be responsible for hauling a sludge generated by the township's wastewater treatment facility to an approved disposal site. If this is not awarded at the December 2nd meeting, we would still have enough time to do it at the January 5th reorg general meeting. So right now, I would just be looking to authorize advertisement of this request for proposal for sludge hauling services.
Does anyone have any questions, comments?
So I see it says that, Peter, you have reviewed it and you've given it your thumbs up, so we're good to go.
Yes, I did make edits to it, and I talked to Bob earlier today. We're all good. Yeah, so we're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, having said that, there's a motion on the table to authorize advertisement by the sewer engineer for the request for proposal for the township for sludge hauling services. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Supervisor Sachs makes the motion. Can I get a second?
Chuck Yeiser will second.
Supervisor Yeiser makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously. Okay, we have a whole bunch of items here. C, D, E, and F. They're various grinder pump and O&M agreements. Some of them seem like they have a little bit more tooth to them, so I think we're just going to do one at a time. They should go rather quick. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I can give a brief discussion of each one. We've separated them out by property. So, so the first property, we have a stormwater O&M and a drainage easement agreement. Under our stormwater ordinance, anyone who, triggers certain requirements is required to install stormwater facilities, and they're required to sign an O&M agreement for the operation and maintenance of the facilities. So that's what the stormwater O&M covers. It's basically a standard form that we've used for years. The easement is there is a stream that crosses this property under our zoning ordinance. They're required to put a drainage easement on this stream to make sure it's preserved and continues to function as a drainage way for this properties and neighboring properties. So that's why there is also an easement. I just need from the board a motion and a second to authorize Noel to sign these two documents. They have already been signed by the property owners.
So by these two documents, you mean for 10 Riverside Avenue and 213 Fulmer Road?
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one. I'm doing this, I'm talking about 21 Sept Road this time. That's what I thought.
Okay.
Kill myself. Yeah. Just looking for a motion for 21 Sept, authorizing you to sign the O&M agreement and the declaration.
I'll make that motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Supervisor Second makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, so no, I skipped one unfortunately. So now we're discussing Riverside Avenue and Fulmer Road. These were both hooked into our sewer system as part of the Fulmer Road Extension Project. They both required grinder pumps in order to hook into our system, and as such, they are required to sign a grinder pump O&M agreement guaranteeing the proper operation and maintenance of the grinder pump for its life. This is the same agreement that all of their neighbors have signed that needed grinder pumps. I believe, I could be wrong, but I do believe these are the last two grinder pump agreements we're waiting for. So once again, I just need a motion and a second authorizing Noel to sign these two agreements.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Also move.
Supervisor Hexter makes the motion. Second.
Chuck Yeiser will second.
Supervisor Reiser makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next, we have 208 Schwenk Road. You will recall that this was in front of you because they needed to obtain a series of variances in order to develop this property with a single-family home. The board had some issues with this request and this development that we were able to work through and put a bunch of conditions on the grant of these variances. So there are three agreements here, one of which is a stormwater O&M agreement, which I've already discussed. The second one is a sewage, or actually an on-lot septic O&M agreement. They're going to have to put an on-lot septic system on this property. They need an O&M agreement to make sure it's being properly operated and maintained. So hopefully it continues to function appropriately. And then lastly, they have a declaration. That declaration puts forth some of the conditions of their approval of variances, mostly in regards to the replacement system that the replacement absorption area that they are preserving on the property. So they are going to create a backup area, absorption area on the property by doing what's called a 4-year fill. They're going to dump appropriate soils in a certain area. Those soils will sit for 4 years. And hopefully after that time, they are tested, and hopefully they will test to be able to handle becoming an absorption field for an on-lot system. This is actually how they created the primary absorption area for this on-lot system. So we want this declaration, what it does is it guarantees that they're going to do this, they're going to do it right, and they're going to protect this area going forward in the future by not building over it, by not putting, driving too heavy vehicles or trucks over it, that sort of thing. So those are the three agreements that are being considered here. Once again, the applicant has signed all three. Just need you to grant authorization to Noel to sign on behalf of the township.
And I'll note there that there's two motions to approve here. The first one is to approve the stormwater O&M, sewage system O&M.
Yeah, they don't, yeah. Yeah, you only have to, I'm sorry, I should have explained this. You only have to approve the stormwater O&M and the sewage O&M. The declaration is a unilateral declaration, which means they're just granting to us, we're not signing off on anything.
We don't need to make a motion on that.
No.
Okay, so the motion is for the stormwater O&M, the sewage and the sewage O&M agreements for 208 Schwenk, and further authorize the chair to sign on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. Can I get a motion?
Chuck Geiser will make the motion.
Supervisor Yiser makes the motion. I will make the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously.
And lastly, we have 28 Perkiomen Avenue. This is just a straightforward stormwater O&M agreement. I think they're putting in a pool, if I remember correctly. So they have to install stormwater in conjunction with that property, and thus they have to sign a stormwater O&M. Just need approval to authorize Noel to sign.
Okay, can I get the motion?
Also move.
Supervisor Exter makes the motion. I will make the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes unanimously. Okay, next on our agenda is the sewer connection for 31 Little Road.
Okay, so we received an application to connect a property to the sanitary sewer system from John Black for 31 Little Road. We were informed this was an emergency connection as the on-lot system had already failed. I believe it was backing up into the house. All permits were obtained and the work has been completed. As the board may recall, section 123-3 of our code is that no person shall uncover, shall connect with, shall make any opening into, or shall use, shall alter, or shall disturb in any manner any sewer or any part of the sewer system without first obtaining approval from the Board of Supervisors and a permit in writing from the township. Obviously, because this was an emergency situation, we are doing this retroactively.
Okay, does anyone have any questions, comments?
I'm happy he could take advantage of the new sewer extension.
Absolutely. Okay, so the motion before us this evening is to approve 31 Little Road retroactively to connect to public sewer contingent upon all required permits being obtained by the property owners and the tapping and connection fees are paid. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion. Chuck Geiser.
Supervisor Yiser makes the motion. I will make the second. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, next on our agenda this evening is fire police request from Upper Salford Township. I'm just going to cruise through this.
This is actually, just keep in mind, this is for us to request to Upper Salford. Just
Right,
which-
to allow us to ask
Yeah.
Upper Salford for use of the Upper Salford Fire Police for our Park and Rec event on December 7th, which is the Giving Tree Holiday fundraiser, and the motion is to authorize the township manager to submit a formal request to Upper Salford Township for the use of Upper Salford Fire Police for Lower Frederick Township event to be held on December 7th of 2025. Can I get a motion?
Also move.
Supervisor Hexter makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Supervisor Sachs makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next on our agenda this evening is resolution for LSA grant application for Zieglerville Road sewer extension.
So as this was previously discussed, at the direction of the board, Hydroterra is preparing the grant application documents for the submission this year. This program is from the PA Horse Development and Gaming Act. It's amended, which provides for the distribution of gaming revenues through the Commonwealth Financial Authority to support projects in the public interest. This would be an eligible use of funds. Projects must have a total eligible project cost of $25,000 or more, but not exceed $1 million for any project. Matching funds is not required for the program. We would need to do the resolution, which is on your, which is in front of you tonight. Designate 2 officials to execute all documents. Deadline is November 30th, 2025. Oh, and the amount of the grant request would be $318,813.83.
Are there any questions? All right, so what's the resolution number?
2025 R-21.
21. All right, so the motion is, I move to adopt Resolution 2025 R-21, authorizing the township manager to submit a local share account application on behalf of Lower Frederick for the funding of the Zeegleville Low-Pressure Sanitary Sewer System Project. Do I have a motion?
So moved, happily.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. So Supervisor Yiser made the motion, Supervisor Sachs made the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Are you an aye? For the LSA? We're just voting on the LSA grant. Are you an aye?
Aye.
All right. Motion passes unanimously.
So I apologize. I'm getting over an upper respiratory infection, and I haven't quite got rid of the cough yet. Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda this evening is resolution amending duplicate resolution number.
I probably should have stood up earlier, but is $318,000 enough money for the project? Where did that figure come from?
That was from our sewer engineer, Bob Preston.
It was, and that covers their expenses as well to have done the engineering and so forth, or that was covered some other way?
It's the project cost. We can't recoup funds that have already been spent. So,
Okay.
so it's the project cost is what we're applying for.
So, and 318,000, thank you very much. I'm glad about this grant. I'm sorry I'm asking questions. It's just, we don't know when it's going to get done. We hope it's next year. Will that cover all the increase possible? I don't want the township to get stuck with any costs on this. So are you allowed to ask for more than you think you'll use?
So what I've experienced, we have to do a cost estimate and either provide a quote or the cost estimate from an engineer. We have that. So we won't know what this costs until it actually goes out to bid. So that's, it's unfortunate because we have to wait a year to find out if it gets awarded. And then so we'd be looking to do this in 2027 if at as soon as. So that's,
Okay, so,
you can't ask for a blanket amount, which I experienced last year with the LSA. I needed to have actual
okay.
individual
So it has to
costs.
be actually what, and somebody did do that, and that's
Yes.
the amount, and that's all I wanted to know. I would like the township to get the grant and not get stuck with any of the costs.
There is a, what is it, 10% contingency
Yes.
built in?
Okay, that could go. All right. Thank you very much for answering that question. That's great.
You're welcome, Brian. Okay, next on our agenda this evening is a resolution amending a duplicate resolution number.
Okay, so,
I'm sorry, what was that?
I don't think we actually, Diane, you were answering questions on 22, right?
No, we did vote on that. No, no, no. It's okay. We're all confused. I'm out of sorts too. It's okay. So.
okay, so this resolution is to correct a duplication in resolution numbers, which was 2025 R-17. Resolution titled Naming of Roads in the Melbourne Hill Subdivision, adopted on April 22nd, 2025, shall retain its number as resolution number 2025 R-17. And resolution titled Adoption of Updated Non-Uniform Employee Handbook, adopted on August 5th, 2025, shall be renumbered as resolution number 2025-R-22.
Okay, so the motion before us is to adopt Resolution 2025-R22, amending resolution numbering to amending resolution numbering to correction duplication for 2025-R17. Can I get a motion?
I have a question. So are we voting on a resolution to amend a resolution, or are we voting to amend the resolution to 22?
Just the number.
So
The resolution doesn't change. We're just going to change the number.
for the non-uniform employee handbook
Yes.
adoption? So is that worded correctly? Because it sounds confusing.
I'm confused in general here. Wait a second. We have a motion, but we have a resolution titled naming of roads in Melbourne subdivision, and then a resolution titled adoption of update.
Sounds like we had two 17s, and we're trying to get rid of one.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so,
And in order, our resolutions, once they're adopted by law, we have to put them in the resolution book, and we can't change them after the fact. So once we've adopted two 2025-17 resolutions, we're stuck with that. What this resolution is going to say, hey, we're renumbering the second one, 2025-22, it has to be in the form of a resolution because we can't actually go back and erase the second 17 and write 22 in. So in order to comply with state law, we have to go through this clunky, inconvenient way of doing this.
got it. Okay, I understand now.
And I understand as well, but then shouldn't the resolution read, I move to adopt Resolution 2025-R-22 for adoption of updated non-uniform employee handbook? So we know what it's referring to.
Resolution
Hold on
number
a
two,
Let me see this.
17.
What is this resolution number? 22, but we're naming, no, it should be 23. Oh. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
no, yeah. So you should be, yeah, this is the confusion. You should be asking for a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-23, which that resolution is changing the second 17 to 22. Yes.
Why don't you read the motion? Yeah, it's a good
I
idea.
move to adopt Resolution 2025-R-23, amending resolution numbering to correct the duplication for 2025-R-17.
And I will make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Supervisor Sachs makes the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
I just have a question, sorry. Peter. Peter, your motion says we're going to correct the duplication of R17, but there's two R17s. Don't we have to be a
Number
little bit
two.
more specific?
It says number 2 up top.
Well, the resolution 2025-23 is specific. So that's really what matters. To be honest, you could have done a motion to say, I hereby move to adopt resolution 2025-R-23 and just left it at that.
Okay.
Okay. And last on our agenda this evening is the fiscal year 2026 budget discussion, advertisement authorization.
Jason, while you're getting that ready, I just want to make one comment for the audience because I had some discussions with a few residents. So when Jason has a column and it says projection for fiscal year for 2025, that's his projection out to the end of this year. So if it says that, there's $100,000, it doesn't mean like today we're $100,000 already behind. It means that that's his projection by the end of December. And some residents can't seem to process that, but that's what that is.
Okay, so this is going to look very similar to last week. Very little has actually changed from what the board received last week. So, Chief. So we're going to do this a little differently and hand out sewer fund documents as we hit the sewer fund. He decided to play my wingman tonight. So what did happen between last week and this week is I did have the October numbers to update the projections. For the sewer fund, there was very little change as far as what you would have been presented with last week. So what we're looking at here, this is the forecasted or projection for 2025, ending the year with 1.142 million in operating revenue, and the projected 2026 budget has a total of $1.066 million as far as its revenue, with 98.8% of that is our sewer use charge. So that's that. And then this next slide is just showing the projection, the draft, and then the 2027 to 2030 projection for the revenue for this fund. And as I stated last week, we have taken out any future subdivisions that we did have in our projections with this year's budget. So currently, this would only consist of the Farm View connections. This is just revenue. Are there questions, concerns over the revenue?
So you said there really aren't any changes in this from last time?
Not in the draft. No.
Okay.
I think the interest might have been, actually the interest was the only change for the draft. I added a couple thousand.
Again, you're showing in these numbers maybe.
Yep, that's going to be the expense. Yep. Any questions on the revenue?
On the revenue side? No.
Okay. So I can move to the expenses. Okay, so this is the updated forecast of 2025, ending the year in $1.575 million. The 2026 budget has a total of $1.147 million. As you can see, the O&M sewer, or the operation maintenance costs, is 45.5% of the expense, and the debt service is 45.2%, with the labor taking up the remaining, along with the, if we get, anticipating getting one tapping fee of the 7405, which will be fully transferred to the capital, or the sewer CIP fund. In this budget, or in the sewer fund budget, we did the only, what I would say kind of out of the ordinary expense would be continue the I&I project that we started this year. All of the other costs are the general sludge hauling, utilities, as far as the individual line to operate the sewer system.
So I noticed on here you have engineering for 31,500, and then you have the sewer lines televised cleaning repair for 31,500. Is that duplicate, or are we, these are two separate things?
That just ended up close to the same. Yeah,
Okay,
that wasn't by, that by chance, I guess.
okay.
And then this slide shows the projection through 2030. Our showing for 2026 with a net income of negative $81,630. And we are assuming a 5% inflation rate.
So we had talked about some other improvements at the plant last time around. Was it like a suction line?
That's going to be part of the CIP discussion. This is just strictly the sewer fund itself.
Gotcha.
And as I've previously explained, when the board moved forward with the CIPs for both funds, primarily we try to keep those funds with labor and operation maintenance costs or our professionals, whereas the CIP is where most of the projects and equipment purchases go now. And as of right now, because of the sewer fund, the funding of the sewer fund capital, that's why there's $0 going to the sewer fund as far as a set aside amount. Because we've transferred the last 3 years of tap-in fees, or the 50% of the last 3 years of tap-in fees.
So you're basically saying in this 2026 draft, fund spending, right?
Mm-hmm.
That our fund will be as a negative net expense of $81,000.
Yes.
So what would be the balance, projected balance at the end of 2026 in that fund?
So
Are
the
we getting to that?
So the projected balance of the sewer fund would be at the end of 2026, $119,981.
So you have a starting January 1st with 200, a little over 200,000 in the sewer fund.
Yes.
We're currently at 417. Do we have a large payment
We,
coming up?
we still have tap-in fees to transfer over. I was only able to transfer, we were only able to transfer 200,000 for last year's. We've still got roughly 166,000 plus this year's tap-in fees to transfer over.
To the capital.
To the capital, yeah. I didn't want to put the sewer fund in a situation before we just got our third quarter payments, so to kind of help.
The bottom balances. 405, yeah. Okay. Should we discuss the sewer capital before we come back? Is there anything on the sewer capital that is a potential to change?
That would be up to you guys, but that's not going to impact, that wouldn't impact the sewer fund.
Right, yeah.
So,
It'll impact funds within the township, but I
but not
understand.
this, yeah, it's going to, it would only impact the sewer CIP.
Yep, okay. Sorry, so the labor line items, that's just in-house labor?
Yes.
Okay. Is that just work at the plant or is also clerk work as well?
So what we've done is it's half of Tommy's salary and 15% of Bonnie for the admin. It used to be 50 and 50, but the board lowered that a few years back to 15.
Oh, it's right here. Yep.
Any other questions on the sewer fund expenses?
I guess I'm still, so earlier I asked you what the balance would be, and you said it was like 119?
At the end of 26, yes.
Is that number in this larger sheet somewhere? Am I not?
Yeah, it's right here. It says cash
That's
balance on 341.
144.
Purple, look in the purple.
Ah, that one. And the difference between the purple and the green is?
Yeah, so the green is kind of where we start with the proposed, and then we
And then that's the
inflate it by 5%. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm thick. Ah, it's on the top of this one, okay.
Any questions? Okay.
Other people might, I don't know.
I don't have questions at this time.
Jason, as you said, this is the same as the last draft.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, all right.
It's not changed dramatically. The net income got better because we added some income or interest of revenue.
Did you say you added income?
When we were at the revenue, yeah, there was a couple thousand for the interest from last week. I did state that.
So we're at a deficit of $81,630, correct?
Yes,
Are you looking for guidance on how to fix that?
that would be up to the board.
Do you have any recommendations?
Not for this year.
Do you want to move on to the capital fund, the sewer capital? Or does anybody else have any questions about this, the sewer
Yeah.
fund?
Clarify one thing. You wanna go first? For the sake of discussion, so what we're looking at on the TV, what color would you call that? Yellow, brown column?
Orange.
Golden? That includes a 5%.
Yes.
And all of the blue columns to the right of it include 3%.
Yes.
Okay. So those are inflation numbers.
Okay, so the sewer capital fund CIP, which did not change from last week, other than the budget revenue was increased with interest. So next year's proposed would be for budget revenue 19,000, which would be the 7405 for tap-in fee, and the budgeted 11,603 for interest.
Give me 2 copies.
So per the kind of the direction last week, I did clean up the fund sheet that shows the balances. So hopefully that's markedly less confusing. And as far as the projects, they've not changed, which would be a computer laptop, the UV service and parts, security system cameras and key entry, heater for headworks building, awning for flood barriers, upgrade of the tank bypass section line for the headworks building, and then looking at security cameras at both our Riverside and Delphi pump stations. And as I've stated in previous years, the board blessing the, or this being in our, potentially being in our 2026 budget does not mean it's locked into for that project to happen. As with anything, that would still come in front of the board before any of these projects or purchases are made. And this fund balance at the end of 2026 would be $493,023. And this has a budget, this is budgeted with a net income of negative $87,132.
So I'm going to focus on the larger numbers and the security system, right? You have in here 16,000. I mean, that's something that, have we had issues with security down there or what's?
Right now, we don't have cameras. We only have cameras at the township building. We have no cameras at the sewer plant or at the pump stations. So we've not had vandalism in the past that I'm aware of, but I don't know if that's a matter of if as opposed to when, but
So for that system, and I know we talked about some of this before, but for that system, is there an ongoing cost with that? Is there a service involved, or is this just us having footage, or if something happens, is there a recording of it?
So I've not nailed, I have talked to a couple of vendors. I've not gotten that far in the process as far as if there's going to be an after. In those conversations, we would have a recording for so much time. It's kind of like the one, the ones we have in the township. I mean, they don't record. It just gives us visual. So that would be the thought, would be to have something that would record for a certain amount of time if something was to happen.
There'll definitely be if you need live, there's definitely a cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Subscription.
I'm
Oh, yeah, for sure.
wondering whether that's a good number. That's all.
It would seem like the initial investment is high, what I'm looking at, but then you're right.
It won't stay that high.
Yeah, then you would have every single month or year you'd be paying.
Yeah, this would be for primarily you're gonna, because you're with the as far as the equipment and stuff goes.
I mean, I'm not against leaving it in. I just think the new board really needs to know what's the whole cost, equipment, whatever service has to be purchased.
Well, that's going to happen when I present the quote, like when I present the
Next year,
project. Yes.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
And, just my personal approach would be there's priority items and there's lower priority items. And again, next year we'll get the quotes and we will, I assume, look at the higher priority items first and lower priority items later.
Yes.
So we're looking at for project and equipment purchases. Oh, maybe this is incorrect here. Right. Yeah, oh, it's 106, 140, yeah. So 106,140. Mind you, and this isn't etched in stone, with a negative net income at the end of 2026 of 87,131. And this is just the capital fund, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any further questions on this.
Okay. Moving on. Liquid fuels and open space.
So Jason, as you've mentioned to me a few times over, we're actually not required by law to have a budget for liquid fuels, but we do it for transparency.
Correct. Okay, so the Liquid Fuels Fund, this is almost identical. I think, once again, I might have tweaked interest. But as far as the Liquid Fuels Fund, we primarily get the revenue from our liquid fuels tax, and then we do get a state road turnback, and then whatever interest we're able to earn in that fund. As far as our expenses, it'd be salt purchases for snow removal, oil and chip up to 5 miles of road. The last payment of the 2021 F-550 dump truck, and then the Bavington Road mill and repair and stormwater project that we kind of went over last week. Revenue budgeted is $179,600 with expenses of $485,655 with a net income of negative $306,554. That cash balance at the end of 2026 would be $167,891.
And again, just to clarify a conversation I had with you, if next year's board decides to do a road project other than Bavington with the amount budgeted, they can do that.
We could do that, yep.
And I guess I just want to say again that we get liquid fuels money from the state. It goes down every year. It's going to continue to go down. And I hope Harrisburg figures out a way for all of us in Pennsylvania to repair and maintain our roads, because it's really, really hard to do on the money we get.
Any questions with the Liquid Fuels Fund? Okay. Good to move on. Okay. Hearing none. The Open Space Fund. Collections for this fund started in 2021. Currently, we've been allocating for the preservation of 333 Southward Station Road, 62.35 acres, through the Highlands Federal Grant submission made in November 2023, and then an open space mailer that the Open Space Committee has been discussing doing at some point. Budgeted revenue for 2026 would be $123,114. As you can see by the chart, 94% of that is EIT, with the 6% being interest. And then the expenses I just stated of $311,190 for a net income of $188,076. The main expense would be for potential conservation easement or preservation of a property. That ending balance at the end of 2026 will be $271,181. Any questions on the Open Space Fund?
No.
Okay. Now to the fun one. All right, Chief, General Fund, please. So with the updated forecast, I have the year ending 2025 with revenue of $2.631 million. As far as the 2026 budget, I'm proposing a $2.549 million revenue. And these changed very little from last week. Actually, I'm not sure I don't believe the revenue changed at all. Once again, I usually have the pie chart, but 43.6% is budgeted from EIT and 36.2% from our real estate tax, which is our two main sources of revenue. And this is just the projection with the budgeted number through 2027 to 2030. We do get a jump up with the real estate based on the new houses being constructed. With real estate transfer expected, and this is based on the forecasting to go down over time. And earned income has continued to grow, and that's cable and franchise fees has continued to go down slowly over the years. So once again, nothing's really changed from last week's draft for the general fund revenue.
So just for clarification, so this is assuming no new building, but if, for example, there is a big movement in real estate, or we do have another development getting started, this could change slightly.
Yes.
But you're going on the conservative side.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's the same thing as I've presented. At some point, generally, the earned income tax kind of levels out as people go in and out of the workforce. But this is what the projections are telling me, so based on our historical. Any questions on the revenue? All right. Moving on to the expenses. The updated forecast for 2025 has us ending the year at $2.749 million. The proposed budget for next year is $2.921 million. This changed some, and that was based on it affects two of the funds, which would be the general fund and the general fund CIP. We did move the mini excavator out to 2029 and have added $10,000 in there to rent that piece of equipment, such as we did this year. So that would be one of the changes from last week that would have impacted this, along with just updating the forecasts with our October numbers. And this is
I just have one question. There's like $50,000 for culture, recreation, other. What is that? Is any of that like maintenance, or is it just?
So that's encapsulates our park and rec section. As I noted last week, we're proposing to do a community day at a
But
cost
that's
of,
not going to cost $50,000. What is that? Is that like all the different events the park board does?
yes,
That costs
primarily, but it also is part of the park maintenance, park
$50,000.
repairs.
Okay.
We still have a part-time seasonal person in there if we were able to get somebody, which with the mowing is still probably not. That's something we probably could take out, actually, now that I think about it. If we've got the third-party mowing, because that's what that seasonal person would be doing. The 2026 budget does take in account for 5% inflation. It does have a public works employee hiring in the month of June. One of the changes that, well, and that happened for last week's meeting, was the only transfer to capital reserve would be the set aside of $100,000. We are budgeted to do the contract mowing again next year. And then the line items for the contractor supplies and materials is primarily where we would be doing, where our public works guys are doing their work. The road line striping, that number's high. We will be looking to stripe the whole township, which is, I have that going out through the future like every other year. It's just not a bad thing to do, but don't believe there's anything else would kind of stand out as a.
Sorry, Jason, you mentioned you could take out the mowing under culture, recreation, community. So I noticed your budget for that, for this year, is $39,006 and the actual is $33,800. So is that approximately $6,000 difference, the mowing?
The 3,000 is the seasonal, and
And was the rest maybe donations?
projected, we didn't have as much park repairs. We really fell under budget for most of the stuff in there.
So I know 3,000 is like not much, but we could certainly take that out.
So with taking that out, it bumps the net income to negative 369,434. The cash balance currently for the proposed budget at the end of 2026 will be $1.760 million.
Does that include the CIP, or that's separate, the negative 369?
This is just the general fund. Does not include the CIP.
Okay. And then the Public Works labor, again, it's a future position. You'll get the permission of the current board.
Correct. Just as we did.
Justify.
Yep. Just as we budgeted for that this year, and that was obviously one of the conversations before anything happens. And that's actually when the board determined to take a look at the mowing and see how that works. So that helped offset the cost of the mowing.
And this budget has 100,000 going to CIP?
Yes. So that would be one of the numbers that the board can consider. Obviously, that would have that would impact the CIP because we know that's not fully funded over the next couple of years. I mean, I guess as a reminder, we did start out with a negative $700,000 deficit, so we've almost halved it.
So what is the deficit now? The 372 or the?
That would be 369, 434, taking out that 3,000, the seasonal maintenance individual.
On your summary sheet, before we made that adjustment, it was showing a 372 and a 167.
167.
I don't know, where's the,
Sheet 1 of 16. Red number on the bottom on the right.
Okay. Got it.
So it went down to 369 based on the adjustment that you and Marla discussed, but I'm asking the ones.
the 167 is the capital fund.
Okay.
Is it not?
I got it.
So what I'm hearing, this is probably for future boards to consider, is how do we fund the capital fund? So I'm not suggesting we talk about it today, but I think it's come up, so just put a pin in it.
I guess where I'm at right now is, even if we put the $100,000 transfer to the capital fund, back in, we're still at a negative, where we should be balancing a budget where we're not using more than we're bringing in. Yet we're going to transfer $100,000 to a capital fund that is already in a deficit for 2026. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that. Where I guess we should be having the conversation on how to reduce what we spend. Is there any place to reduce where we spend, like insurances?
Yes.
Okay. Would have liked to have a little bit more conversation about how we're, 269, because I'm not counting the $100,000 transfer to the capital fund. It doesn't look like it's going to get any better, so.
I mean, we also have been budgeting for a deficit budget for the last several years, so it's not.
Yeah, I've been looking at budgets for about 10 years, and every single budget is a deficit budget, every single one. So you're right, Noel, we shouldn't be in the red, but we have That's how we've been operating as long as I can remember. So there's only two things you can do. You can increase revenue or you can reduce expenses. That's it.
Well, we do have other funds. We have reserve funds, but that doesn't help if we keep pulling from reserves, because then we don't have any more reserves. Easier said than done.
Well, what I can say is for projecting for 2025, we budgeted for a negative 228. I'm projecting us to have a negative 118,954. And that was similar to last year. So fortunately, with the deficit budgets, we've not been surpassing, at least in the last 3 years, but it's been several years where we're not surpassing what we're budgeting.
So I guess the only other thing I wanted to question, and I had asked you this previously, and you sort of kind of answered my question, but I think I need some further clarification, and it has to do with, where is it? Our revenue for charges and services, which is planning and saldo, fees for hearing, fees for review, police service reports, permits, zoning, building, use and occupancy, storm grading, and stormwater. You're projecting an income of $91,661. And I had asked you what the corresponding expenses for that were. Does that include our building inspector? Does that also include planning, zoning, code enforcement? And you kind of answered the question, but I didn't get the answer. Is the revenue for these two buckets charges for services?
No.
So what is the corresponding revenue to these two?
Primarily, it's primarily your third-party building inspector. It also does cover when we have zoning hearing board hearings or conditional use hearings. But we also have the county planner. That's not.
Okay, that's still not answering my question. My question is, what is the corresponding revenue for these?
Well, I'm trying to explain to you what the corresponding revenue. There is no.
No, you're telling me what the, okay.
The permits cover, primarily the permits should be covering the consultant. Now, that being said, they are involved in code enforcement, which is not a revenue generating part of the township. It's kind of a cost of doing.
Okay, so as I see it here, you have building permits, 75,000. Are you saying that that is the revenue for our building inspector?
That's what we're trying to cover, yes.
Okay, so 75 in income in the charges for services for building permits, and we have 84,683 for our consultant. Okay, so then there's the planning, the zoning, and the code enforcement at $40,358, of which that's kind of a loss. Is that what you're saying? We don't have revenue for that? Not right.
There's things that we can't charge for when it comes to hearings.
No, I got that.
So generally the hearing fees aren't covering what it costs us to do those hearings. Because we're not allowed to charge for certain things for the hearings.
So we technically don't really have a whole lot of, well, fees, for hearing fees, I guess, would that be, that would be part of it. So there's $2,400. Fees for planning and saldo, would that be another one?
Yes.
Okay, so now we've got 2,000. And we've got 24, right? That's 44. Okay, so all told for this planning, zoning and code enforcement, which is wages for the zoning hearing board, the FICA associated with that, office supplies, other services and charges, legal, zoning, stenographer, advertising, the county planner is in there at 11,907. Training, enforcement, and enforcement for Act 537 comes to 40,358.
Yes.
And we only have those two line items to kind of offset that, I guess. Okay. I just wanted to make it clear because I wasn't sure by your email how that went. All right. So we are losing a little bit of money here on both ends, but I understand that we're not going to recoup some of our costs. It just seems like it's an awful lot of money not to recoup. And I see you've got the final number, the 48,183 for the contract mowing. Thank you. For the end of 2025.
Yep.
Okay.
That was update. That was one of the updates.
So mind that they started late. There were a couple times where they didn't have to mow. So for all told, it was 48,000, which we had originally, what was it, 62?
The contract is 60.
62.
They bidded for 62.5 or 4, which is what's in for
Okay.
next year. Yes.
Okay.
But that's one of those, if we start late, we finished right around when I think we may have had an extra week, but we finished right around when we anticipated when we did the RFP for that, so. And actually, they were really good to work. Like that was a very successful endeavor. Any other questions or anything?
I have no more questions at this time. Anyone else?
The General Fund, Capital Fund, CIP. Have a budget revenue of, oh, hold on, I guess I'll let you guys. So once again, those should be cleaned up compared to last time. So proposing a budget revenue of $262,324, which consists of grants that we've applied for that we're still waiting actually to find out if we've got awarded, interest, and the $100,000 general fund transfer. The proposed projects / purchases, a total of $429,850. $150,313 would be covered by the grant submissions. So those would be the kind of projects that if we do not receive the grants, we'd have to have that discussion with the board, whether that's something to consider or move out into the future. As I stated last week, we have added Park and Rec capital project purchases. And this is the list of the current proposed expenditures. As I did note, we did move the mini excavator out to 2029. So that would have been something that would have impacted this from last week's general fund CIP. I was questioned about the equipment trailer that was part of the proposed for the mini excavator. When I did ask about that, that is something they can use. It's certainly something they can use when they move the mini excavator around. That's something we were using the equipment bid for. Something that the board did bring up last week was looking at financing. So there are some financing options for the dump truck that's currently in the proposed budget. And the John Deere compact tractor. For the dump truck, we could look at it between a 5, 7, or 10-year loan between 4.25% and 4.75%. If we did annual payments at say 5 years, that'd be $44,000. 7 years, $32,440. 10 years, $25,000. As far as the expense to finance, as far as what we pay in interest for the 5-year loan, that'd be $25,600. $30,000 for the 7-year, and $53,000 for the 10-year for the dump truck. The John Deere compact tractor, that would be a 3, 5, or 7-year. That would be an annual of $10,486. For the 3-year, $6,550 for the 5-year, and $4,800 for the 7-year, with an interest of $2,400 for the 3-year, $3,700 for the 5-year, and $4,800 for the 7-year. So that would be something to consider. That would obviously take some of the lessen the impact of the cash demand for these items.
So I have 2 questions about that. Do those potential loan payments include the interest, or do they?
Yes.
They do include the interest.
Yep.
So you're just separating it out, but they include
Yep.
the interest. And the second question I have is, you're assuming a 0 down payment.
Correct.
So if we made a small down payment, that would not only increase the amount, it would also decrease the amount, it would also decrease the interest payments.
Yes.
Okay.
This would be set
And
up.
that's a future decision.
Yeah, this would be set up similar to the way the board did the 550 over 5 years, and those payments were equal payments that include the interest. They just kind of, the interest goes down as it moves into the future. But yes, that would be something, if it would end up in the budget and the board would consider financing, that we would present those different options as a more formal.
So are those 2 items currently included in the total you've provided for the CIP?
They are.
So in 26, instead of 226,500, it would be 50,000.
Yeah.
But then you're committed to the next 4 years after that to spend 50,000 a year on those lands. So it just softens out that shock, but you do have the interest and you do have the commitment. That's a 5-year.
Yeah, obviously, as you extend those years, the amount goes down, but obviously you're spending certainly more in interest, and that's where I don't know that the trade-off is the same.
For the LSA line items, it says 2024 LSA?
Yeah, we submitted it last fall.
Okay. We still don't know if we have this?
Now, they were supposed to, September's supposed to be the month. I looked, I think, 2 weeks ago, and there's still nothing out there, so.
So is that the potential grant, is that a revenue line?
Yes,
Okay.
that's where I try to offset those, because understanding that, like, we'd like to have speed boards. It's not one of those, we talk about wants and needs. We'd like to pave the parking lot here. I mean, eventually that'll become a need, but, the township sign, so that's,
Okay.
but that's why, usually I would not include grants as part of the but also understanding that if we don't get those, that's a different discussion or a different thing for the board to consider.
Okay. And back to for the two pieces of equipment that we can get a loan on, it would reduce 26, assuming we purchase them both outright, and also assuming we paid every month, which we're obviously not going to. The savings, if we were to pay every month, was 176,500 reduction in the CIP. It'll be even more than that because we're not going to buy it on January.
Correct,
If we end
yeah.
up getting the loan.
Yeah.
It just pushes it out further, though.
Yeah, because that truck, while they've sped up how long it takes the trucks to get built, it's still roughly 9 months to a year, so. Obviously, the tractor, that would be something that's, I would expect to be, not have to wait for, but. And also having talked to our, Mr. Peck from Concord, we could even lump those together if the board, like, that would be another option as opposed to individual loans also, so. That's something he's talked to me about before, so.
Yeah, I think it's just important to look forward to the next 3 to 5, 6 years and see what other large, we're not going to do that right now, but look at the other large loan, like vehicles, of what other vehicles you'd want. The original purpose of the CIP was to do something like this, as you're planning for when the things should be retired. The big ticket item this year should have been retired probably a while ago. And I think we just wrote another large check tonight for another repair on the same piece of equipment that's in service now. So time's not on our side with that one.
And that's something I've talked, it's similar to the roads that we have out ahead of us that are in the future projections, almost kind of having a catch up because we are behind on, we're going to be well behind on the cash. And as we know with some of the roads, some are more immediate than others, and it's kind of like the equipment. So that is stuff I have talked about. So when that presentation happens, if the board so chooses, they'll have different options, and I would have him here to explain.
Yeah, and I think similar to last year, I think the board was invited to see our facilities and see our equipment. I think it's just as important looking at the list of items in the next few years. Same thing. Get some eyes on inventory and see what's important. See what the plan is. We took care of a large chunk of time of mowing. Keep looking, keep seeing what else there's out there. If we have unitasking equipment, figure out if we should be hiring someone to do the projects for us.
Is that at the end of our presentation?
Yes,
There are a couple more pages.
there are a couple more pages.
And I'm going to make a request, if you're able to do it, is one thing I really liked about our prior presentations, I'm not sure why it's not in this one, is that dollar bill. Because
I did pop it in the end.
the biggest question I get from people is, why are my taxes so high? And I have to explain to them, like 86% of your tax bill is this property taxes, and the next big chunk of it is Montgomery County, and our portion of it is actually very small. And I love that dollar bill because it shows each piece of that tax dollar and where it goes. So if you're not able to find it, maybe at the next meeting, but there
it
we
is.
go. All right, okay, wow. So so out of every dollar, the school district gets 81 cents.
Oh, sorry, hold on, sorry.
Okay.
I don't think
The
I-
county gets 11.8 cents, and the township gets 7.2 cents. So when you're complaining about your tax bill, the township part of it is tiny.
0.72 cents.
I'm not saying it's not
Yeah.
money, but in perspective, and then you can see the breakdown on the left of an average tax bill. Thank you.
And I will say the average assessment did go down from last year. That's in line with the new houses that we've added. I'm assuming, because it was 131,000-ish last year, so.
And I just have one more, I guess, maybe a comment or a question, it was always my understanding that if for some reason we missed something or we wanted to add something, that even after we advertise the budget, we can make minor changes in each section up to 25% of that portion or up to 10% of the total. So we are not restricted from making some tweaks even after it's advertised.
When does that need to be done by? February 15th?
Well,
No, December 31st.
And I think
you're
it's only
you're-
following
You're talking about
election.
two separate things.
Maybe.
So once a budget is adopted, so we're going to do this in reverse, what Noel brought up. Once a budget is adopted after municipal elections, so such as this budget, the second-class township code does allow for the incoming new board to make adjustments to that, and those adjustments have to be made, I believe you're correct, February 15th. As what Marlo is saying is you can always make small adjustments to the budget throughout the year. And there are certain requirements you have to make, how big those adjustments are. I don't know off the top of my head what the percentage is, but it is a certain percentage of, that particular budget item or within that budget category. But those can be done throughout the year. So, but I think once you advertise it, I actually do not believe you change it. That's what you're adopting. You advertise it, you adopt that. If once that budget is adopted, you need to make changes, you then can make it up under those following two things. But once it's advertised, I think you kind of stuck with that particular budget as far as adoption goes.
Thank you, that was very helpful.
All right, so it's 9 o'clock. How do we move forward?
So if the board so chose to adopt what's been presented to you, then this would go out for advertisement. Probably, I possibly could get it into the Friday paper, but if it gets Monday, it has to be advertised for 20 consecutive days. And therefore, we would be looking at adoption at the December 2nd meeting. If the board is not prepared to authorize advertisement of the budget as it exists, we do have the work session coming up. That probably would mandate us to change our work session meeting for December that's currently scheduled. What was it, December 16th? Because I wouldn't be able to get it in the paper soon enough to hit the 20 days, which is what we ran into 2 years ago, I believe.
I'm okay to move forward.
Well, I guess it's really the consensus, right? I mean, it's the group. When I say moving forward, I don't mean just adopting what we have in front of us, having enough discussion tonight to get to consensus on what we do, right?
Does anyone have a consensus on what we think about the budget as it is, enough to feel confident in advertising, allowing the advertising to going forward? Or do we believe we need to have a little more discussion?
I'm okay with it.
Terry?
I'd be okay with it.
Terry?
Fine moving forward with the caveat that we don't have to buy the things that are in the budget. It's always the case, and we don't have to hire the people in the budget. It's up to the board at that time.
I'm okay moving forward as long as everybody knows this isn't etched in stone. None of it is etched in stone. Purchases, hiring, projects, period. Okay?
So we're not going to make adjustments for financing options or leave it as is what, where did we land on that?
It's in the CIP, and it's probably wouldn't happen until next year. Kind of takes that off your plate.
So that's fine. In other words, so as
Yes.
far as you're concerned, it's resolved or a non-issue at this time? Yes, no.
Right,
Right, that's, I said, a non-issue at this time.
at this time, yes.
So are you looking for a motion to approve advertising the budget?
Yeah, I think we do need a formal motion to authorize the advertisement of the budget as presented.
I will be happy to make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Bob, did you have a question?
I didn't count how many, but yes. So, Burns, Zieglerville Road. And that it goes back like the last 5 times I forgot to say it.
Get nice and close.
Where would you like me to start? Well, how about this? How about we issue a credit on the fire hydrant thing, since Marla mentioned like a year and a half ago that that was going to get resolved?
I think we currently have enough in the account right now, which is why we lowered the rate so that we could level it out.
Yeah,
I
I'd like
think
to
we're
lower
gonna
it
be.
again.
I know that that's an option, but we can have that conversation.
That comes up with the, when the board adopts the
Yes.
tax millage resolution.
But
Okay.
I acknowledged it. I saw it. I did the numbers.
You know, it's double what we need right now. so,
Exactly. So, and I do believe we could do that,
Yes.
or we can just continue to keep it low and let it eventually balance itself out. Go ahead.
Okay, so I can't really see the screen from where I was sitting, but I think you guys have the equipment stuff that you're possibly going to work with Darrell at 4-something% to see what you can come up with on some of those things.
Yes, the 2 pieces of equipment that we discussed, yes.
Okay. Was anything mentioned about the equipment that we have sitting back here that usually goes to Unibid or anything like that? Is there,
If we sell that, that would go back into the CIP, whatever that sale or revenue is, yeah.
I mean, how many pieces are down there now?
We have a truck and a mower.
Oh, that's all? Cool. All right. I think somebody mentioned health insurance and other insurances. I didn't hear much come up about that
No,
tonight.
that's getting worked on, but that'll be next year too. The enrollment period is, but that's getting worked on.
So with the camera situation, would that change our insurance with our carrier since we're putting in security equipment?
I've still got to ask about that, but we do go over the cameras that we have. She's never mentioned that we'd get a reduction, but I don't know what kind of credit or benefit we would get for those.
Okay. And then, yeah, I heard the equipment bid brought up a couple times. Is the equipment bid in the line item? Do you have a figure for it?
As I've told you before, it's not a dedicated line item. It's built into different line items depending on where we may need to use it. So if it's liquid fuels as we've done it before, or out of the general fund as we did this year for the prep work, so.
And I know you said you had 50,000 for the prep work for next year.
Yeah, we basically took, we erring on the side of caution since it was, I think it was like 42,000 this year before the oil and chip. So yeah, that is built into the liquid fuels fund.
And then the oil and chip, you were thinking around 200,000 this year?
Yes.
It's in the data. You'll get a chance to see the budget after we, and then you can actually
understand
start
what you're
asking
saying,
those questions.
But what I'm saying is, you know, you're coming up with a over budget. I don't want to use the word deficit because it's not a deficit. We have 1.3 million in CDs, so it's not a deficit. However, as we did the last 2 years with the tar and chip, it hasn't turned out so well. A lot of people.
Bob, can we leave it to the, like, just budget questions?
Well,
This
I
is
got-
kind of like minutiae detail that if
It
you.
is a budget question because it entitles to 200,000. So, and I know as Chuck tried to say to me the other night, just because 190 is in for Babington doesn't mean it needs to be used there.
Exactly.
So same thing with the 200. I'm just making a suggestion to you guys so that you're thinking about it.
Right.
And Dan's here and Crystal's on, so she's listening. So, you know, we've had an issue where we've paved patches and then we tried to tar and chip it right after top of that. And it's not good. It doesn't seal and adhere correctly. So instead of, I know Jason wants to tar and chip year after year after year so that we're covered, but it'd be nice
Bob,
to-
it's not me, that is the standard maintenance of your roads.
And as you said when you got here, that we got off kilter there for a while. And we did that because we didn't have the money. So. You mentioned the dead trees. Did you have a figure in for that?
That comes out of our, that hits, because that's kind of ongoing. The dead trees come out of the open space areas primarily.
There's not a line item for that.
So there's,
No, I'm
it's
just
it's
saying
just
that-
built into like parks.
Well,
If-
it sounds like you're asking about things that you think are going to get done during the year, and I realize that there's a cost associated with it, but I don't know if these are specifically geared towards what we just discussed this evening and what we're trying to accomplish, which is go forward with the advertising so that we can get it to you so that you can actually look at it.
I love that, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you one that you didn't talk about tonight, but you talked about the sewer. So we have the guy that came in from Woodside that wanted to put the building in, and he's going to come back and let us know one way or the other. That sewer, he mentioned that night that he has a dormant sewer. So I guess he's not getting charged, or he will be getting charged, or whatever, so that's.
It's
money
dormant,
coming in.
it's a dormant fee that's part of that policy.
Okay, so he's getting the reduced fee for the dormant?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Okay, the motion is made, the second was made. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, motion passes unanimously. We are now going to do public comment. Anyone have any public comments? Diane.
I know you guys have till the end of December, Chuck and Terry, but
Gathering my papers.
that's, go for it. I just wanted to say thank you, and I bet you're celebrating that this is the last budget that you will have to do. So I'm with you. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you. Is there anybody on Zoom? Jason, do you see anyone? I don't see any hands raised.
No hands.
Then we will move on to supervisors' comments.
Thank you. So yesterday, we had an election, And free and fair elections are a real cornerstone of our democracy. And what I observed was everything went smoothly. The new location was great. Where's Ernie? Is Ernie not here? Did he leave?
Oh, he left. Yeah.
Anyway, someone pass on to Ernie. Thank you, Ernie, for suggesting we move our polling location. I heard nothing but positive comments from the poll workers. The parking was great. I think it was long overdue. And I also, some of you know, my career is all in public service, my entire life. And people who are in public service, you complain about them, you batter them, we hardly ever get something nice said about them. So I want to thank the candidates, all of you who stood up to run, whether you won or lost, because serving the public is hard, it's important, and campaigning is hard work. And you, all of you, whether you won or lost, gave up time and energy and probably some money to campaign, and competition in campaigns is also really important. Make people work for it. So it's always hard at the end of campaign season. Not everybody can win, but I want to thank all of you who are as well, who are serving this community a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Marla. Very well said. Okay. All right, this meeting is adjourned.
Did you do the minutes?
I did.